Hey guys, and happy Saturday! Welcome back. Here we are with episode 26. It's been a long time, guys, and you guys have been missed. I miss doing this too. It's been a crazy month, and I miss, like I said, getting back into the world of YouTube and sharing my love for stuff I enjoy. And today I'm really excited to you guys to be talking to you because I'm going to be talking to you about another graphic novel. I'm going to be talking to you about Mouse by Art Spiegelman. If you can see that, this is the complete Mouse. It's basically a two collection graphic novel, part one and part two, and it's about a guy and his experiences surviving the Holocaust. It won a Pulitzer Prize as well as an Eisner Award. It's a really awesome story. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you, excuse me here, a little bit about the artist writer Art Spiegelman, a little bit about the background of the book, and then I'm going to probably read like the first chapter and just share my thoughts on it. So I hope you guys are doing good, and I'm going to go ahead and get into that right now. So Art Spiegelman was a guy that was born in Sweden in 1948. He and his parents immigrated to the U.S. in 1951. From early on in his life, young age, he became interested in drawing, and it's something he often did. Um, and as he got a little bit older, by the time he got into his like early 20s, late teens, he entered into the world of the late 60s, excuse me, into the world of fanzines and like the underground comic book movement. He just became very interested in that. And he actually ended up becoming a key figure in the underground comic book movement. Starting in 1972, he contributed a three-page strip to the very first issue of a comic book called Funny Animals, which is a big underground comic book at the time. In the story, he depicted a story about the Holocaust, with cats being represented as the Nazis and mice being represented as the Jewish people in this scenario. He showed it to his father, who is a Holocaust survivor, Vladek Spiegelman, and his father gave him further info about his experiences. In 73, Spiegelman produced a comic strip for a comic book called Short Order Comics, issue number one. And in this story, he told a very harrowing story about his mother's suicide called Prisoner on the Hell Planet. And it was a personal story, and it was very meaningful. It's actually collected, if I'm not mistaken, in the Mouse graphic novel collection. They actually reprint it, so if you get that, you'll see that story. He pretty much spent the rest of the 70s kind of like building his reputation, making short online guard comics, if you will. And then in 78, he really thought he had something with that story that he did about his father, about the, not about his father, excuse me, but about the Holocaust with the mice and the cats, that one I just talked about. So he began interviewing his father in 78 about the Holocaust and his experiences. And then in 1980, he self-published a comic book magazine called Raw. And in issue number two, he first introduced the world of Mouse in that issue. And he told the entire story in Raw magazine between 1980 and 1991. In 86, the first part of that story would get released as a graphic novel. It'd be part one. And then in 1991, part two would then also become a graphic novel, both published by Pantheon Books. So that's a little bit of a background about our main man, writer, artist, Art Spiegelman. He also is in the story Mouse. He's one of the main characters. I'm going to give you a little bit more information about Mouse. Just bear with me here for a second, guys. I'm having a lot of technical issues today. I think I got the wrong prescription reading glasses, damn it. I'm having a hard time reading. I got to get the right ones. And between that and for some reason, my damn tripod does not want to line up the way I want it to. So I'm nitpicking here, but it's driving me crazy. These little stupid things, right? So back to being on point here of what we're talking about, guys. Mouse, part 1 is called Mouse, A Survivor's Tale. My Father Bleeds, History. Like I said, it was published in Raw Magazine. Issue number 2 came out in December of 1980. And it's basically the story of Art Spiegelman interviewing his father, Wladek Spiegelman, as a Polish Jew and Holocaust survivor. The story represents Jews as mice and other Germans and Poles and cats as pigs. It could best be described as a memoir with some fictional aspects. Mouse was one of the first graphic novels to actually receive a lot of respect in the academic world. It got a lot of attention. And the irony in that is that even though he did receive academic attention, he struggled to get the book published at first. And when he did, surprisingly enough, it was mostly distributed in bookshops versus comic book shops, which is something that was kind of unusual because graphic novels usually get released in the world of comic book shops. But this was mostly on the route of regular bookstores. The good news was the book found a large audience, and it did really well. In 1992, it won several awards. The big one was the Pulitzer Prize. Now, I'm sure we all know about the world of the Pulitzer Prize, and guys, that's a really tough thing to claim. The reality is that just in most cases, most graphic novels don't get the Pulitzer Prize. Most regular novels don't get the Pulitzer Prize. It's a big deal. It also won the Eisner Award in '92, which in the world of comic books, that's like, your equivalent of the Academy Award. So that is the backgrounds of our characters, or not our characters, excuse me, our Art Spiegelman. I'm going to get into the actual graphic novel. I'm going to read you probably the first chapter from part 1. And bear with me, guys, here. And I will tell you my thoughts. And if you guys enjoy this, you guys let me know. And if you enjoy it, I'll continue to read like chapter 2 and go on from there. And if not, let me know too, because I don't want to keep on continuing if it's something you're not getting enjoyment from. So here we are, part 1. We start off and it says Rego Park, 1958. It was summer. I remember I was 10 or 11. Last Wednesday, the schoolyard is a rotten egg. We see him going down the sidewalk on his roller skates. I was roller skating with Howie and Steve until my skate came loose and then he trips. Ow! Hey, wait up, fellas. Rotten egg, ha ha ha. Wait up. My father was in front fixing something, and we see him up front, and he's sawing a piece of board. Artie, come to hold this a minute while I saw. Artie's crying. And why do you cry, Artie? Hold better on the wood. I fell and my friends skated away without me. He stopped sawing. Friends? Friends, you say? If you lock them together in a room for a week with no food, then you would see who your friends are. His dad's a little on the bleak side, guys. So, hold on a second while I turn a couple pages. Now, we're going to cut to the next scene here, guys. and we see our man Art, and he's a little bit older, and he's probably in his 20s. Just bear with me a second, guys. My arthritis hands don't want to work today here. I see him outside of his father's apartment, and he goes, "I went out to see my father in Rego Park. I hadn't seen him in a long time. We weren't that close." "Papa, oi, Artie, you're late. I was worried. It's a shame Francis also didn't come. She sends her regards. He had aged a lot since I last saw him. My mother's suicide and his 2 heart attacks had taken their tolls." "Mala, look who's here, Artie." He was remarried. Mala knew my parents in Poland before the war. She was a survivor too, like most of my parents' friends. "Hi, Artie, let me take your coat. The dinner's on the table." "Ach, Mala, a wire hanger you give him? I haven't seen Artie in almost 2 years. We have plenty of wooden hangers." They didn't get along. You can see that a little rocky road of a relationship there, guys. So give me a second here, guys. After dinner, he took me to my old bedroom. "Come, talk while I pedal." He gets on one of these stationary bicycles. "It's good for my heart, the pedaling. But tell me, how is it? How is going the comics business? I still want to draw that book about you. The one I used to talk to you about your life in Poland in the war. I would take many books, my life, and no one wants to hear such stories." "I want to hear it. Start with Mom. Tell me how you met." Better you should spend your time to make drawings that will bring you some money. But if you want, I can tell you. I lived then in Chechnya, a small city not far from the border of Germany. I was in the textiles business, buying and selling. I didn't make much, but always I could make a living." All right, guys, just bear with me for a second. This stupid tripod is just being annoying for some reason today. I don't know what's up with it. But anyway, at that time, I was a nice, young, handsome boy. I had lots of girls that would chase after me. As you see him walking up, we see a young Vladek. He's cutting a handsome figure, and he's entering his apartment, and he hears the phone ring. And he goes on the other end of the phone, he goes, "Hello, Vladek. This is Yulek. A friend of mine, Lucia Greenberg, would like to be introduced to you. People always tell me that I look like Rudolph Valentino." Eventually, I took Lucia to a dance, as they're dancing on the dance floor. "Do you live alone?" Yes, I live alone. I have a small apartment. My parents moved to Sachnia. I'd like to see it sometime. Maybe sometime." Okay. Wherever I went, I looked around, and Lucia Greenberg would also be there. "Vladek, which way are you going?" Just to the market." "Me too, let's walk together." "But Pop, Mom's name was Anna Zilleberg." "Oh, this was before I met your mom. Just listen, okay?" So back to the story. "Why don't you ever invite me to your home? Are you ashamed of it?" She kept insulting me. No, she's not insulting me. She kept insisting just to show her my apartment. Just bear with me, guys. Okay, hopefully that fixed it. So eventually I invited her. Everything's so neat and clean. I like to keep things neat and clean. "You must have another girlfriend who comes and cleans in for you." And he says, "No, of course not." I didn't want to be closer to her, but she just wouldn't let me go. You could see that she was a little bit obsessed. Ooh, you gotta be careful with those ones, guys. "Was she the first girl as he's struggling to say intimate?" Yes, we were involved so much like the youth of today. We saw each other together for maybe 3 or 4 years. "Let's get engaged, Vladek. It's late, I'll take you home." "Not yet, please. Come on, your parents would worry." Her family was nice, but had no money. No, not even for a dowry. So next scene we cut to, and every holiday I went to visit my family, It was a journey of about 30 to 40 miles. And from there, we see him at the railroad station, and he's getting off the train. Cousin Vladek, we see his cousin. It's so good to see you again. There's a girl in my class I want you to meet tomorrow. Her name is Anja. She's incredibly clever, from a rich family, a very good girl. Just bear with me here while I turn the page here, guys. The next morning, we all met together. My cousin and Anna spoke sometimes in English, as they see them whispering like they're gossiping. How do you like him? He's a nice, handsome boy, and he seems very nice. What they didn't know was that I understood English. And then from there, we see his cousin go, well, I promised to be home early. I'll leave you two alone. And it's just Vladek and Anja, and they're walking. He says, you should be careful speaking English. A stranger could understand. And she's shocked. She goes, you know English? It's a shame. He's like, did you study it in school? I had to quit school about 14 to work. But I took private lessons. I always dreamed of going to America. It's a shame you have to return to Chechnya so soon. He's like, yes, it is, but I have business. Have you a phone at home? As soon as I came back to Chechnya, she called once a day, twice, every day we talked. And then she started writing to me such beautiful letters. Almost nobody could write Polish like she wrote. I visited a couple times to her, and then she sent me a photo. I bought a very nice frame, and we see, taking the picture and putting the frame in his apartment. It passed maybe a week or two until Lucia again came and she saw the photo. I'm going to get engaged to her, Lucia. Shh! And what a beauty you picked. Looks aren't everything, Lucia. It isn't good for either of us that you keep coming up here. And we have to plan for our futures. Forget her. Let me make you happy. It was not so easy to get rid of Lucia. Yep, guys, we got a clinger here. It's time to make a run for it, Vladek. Quick, get out of here. I see an obsession case on our hands. Little side note there. Got to throw a little humor into the Holocaust story, guys. Even if it's my cheesy, horrible humor. I got to throw it in there for you. Mom wasn't that attractive, huh? Oh, not so like Lucia, but if you talked to her for a little while, you started loving her more and more. One time we walked into the director from her. One time we walked into the director from her school. We see him walking around the park. You're very lucky, Mr. Spiegelman. You don't know what a girl you're getting. I've had many students, but never one as insensitive as intelligent as Anna. Yes, that's why I picked her. I wish you could visit me in Chechnya. I'd like to show you off to my friends. I begged my mother to let me go, but she's so religious and old-fashioned. She would never allow me to go to a bachelor's apartment. Back then, that's a big deal, Andra's parents were anxious she should be married. She was 24 and I was 30 at the time. My parents would like you to come to dinner tomorrow night. The Zillerberg family was very well off, millionaires actually. The Zillenbergs had a hosiery factory. They had a hosiery factory, guys. A hosiery factory, I think is the proper pronunciation. One of the biggest in Poland. But when I came into their house, it was so like a king came in. And we see him being entered into the house. He's got some flowers for Anna. Welcome, welcome. Anja Vladek is here. And we see their mother. Make yourself comfortable. I help with the dinner. So to see what a housekeeper she was, I spied and I peeked into Anja's closet. Everything is neat and straight, just the way I like it. But what's this? As he's going through the shelves. Pills. I wrote down every pill. If she was sick, then why did she keep it from me? And then from there, dinner's ready. So he's a little bit curious. He's worried about her. Later, a druggist, told me that the pills were only because she was so skinny and nervous. So we see him sitting at the dinner table with her family and stuff, and mother's coming up to her. How about some more Fish Vladek? I probably got that word wrong, guys. Sorry. Gefilte fish? I don't know. My pronunciations are horrible, as you can tell, guys. So to make a long story short, by the end of 1936, we were engaged, and I had moved from Chechnya to Snatchnowitz. Another, man, these words are fucking, either I'm really stupid, guys, or these words are just really hard to pronounce. I don't know, one or the other. Or that, or maybe I'm just smart and I'm horrible at fucking pronouncing things, because I can't get these words right. And I read a lot, so I should be able to get this right. Anyway, back to the story. On point. Stay on point here. Here I forgot to tell you something from before I moved to Sachnia, but after our engagement was made. One evening the bell rang. He goes to his apartment door. Lucia, what are you doing? What are you doing here? I'm on my way out. I'll come with you. No, you can't come with. Please, Vladek, as she falls to the floor and she's grabbing his leg, being all dramatic. She fell on the floor and strung my legs. Don't run away, she's crying. I saw now that I went too far with her. I ran out to my friend that introduced us. He went to calm her down and took her home. And then from there, something strange happened. I didn't hear more from Lucia, but I also stopped hearing from Angia. No telephone calls, no letters, nothing. What happened? Hello, Miss Zallerberg. Can I speak to Angia? She says she won't speak to you. But why? She got a letter from someone in Chechnya. My God, it says the worst things in the world about you. And you see his mom, his mother, future mother-in-law, and Angia in the background, very angry. Well, I can't convince her on the phone. I'll come down by train on Friday after work. And, you can see he's worried, He really loves this girl, Angia, and he's wondering what's going on here, guys. It wasn't a holiday, even, but I went anyway to Sachnia. And you see him at the front door with flowers in his hands. And so tell me, Angia, what have I done that's so horrible? You should know. Just read this. And she holds out this letter. I don't even want to see it. Just tell me who wrote it, or better yet, I'll tell you. Lucia Greenberg, right? It just signed your secret friend, L. It says you have a very bad reputation in Chechnya, and that you have a lot of girlfriends, and that you're marrying me for my money. Anja, you should know me better. Ask anyone in Chechnya about my character. Lucia is an old girlfriend who won't leave me alone. She means nothing at all to me, and after much talking, I convinced her. So I moved to Sachnia at the end of 1936, and February 14th, 1937, we were married. And now to some vodka, and now, let me see them all. I'll be around the big dinner table again. Now some vodka to toast the young couple. I moved into one of the father-in-law's 2 apartments. He owned both, and he gave to me part ownership and a very beautiful gold watch for a wedding gift. But this is what I told you about Lucia. What I told you about Lucia, please, you shouldn't write this in your book. But why? Why not? It has nothing to do with Hitler and the Holocaust. But Pop, it's great material. It makes everything real, more human. People identify with that stuff. It makes for a good story. I don't want you to tell your story that way. It really happened, but I don't think it's respectful. I can tell you other stories, but such private things I don't want should be mentioned. And then he goes, okay, I promise. And, behind his back, he's kind of like got his fingers crossed, like, yeah, sure, I won't say anything, And that, my friends, is the end of chapter 1. I could go on a little bit further, but I think this is my first time doing this in a while, guys. And I know it's a really bad excuse, right? I'm just being lazy. I did 25 episodes. Read another chapter, asshole. No. But it's been the first time I've done this in a while, and I wanted to just kind of introduce you guys to the world of Mouse. Like I said, Art Spiegelman, he's a powerhouse. This is a great story, and it only continues to get better. If you guys like what I read so far, and you think you're interested in hearing me read more of this great graphic novel, please send some messages. You know how to get a hold of me on Facebook or leave a comment down below. Um, you have to excuse my fumbling with my reading, and some of the technical aspects of the shoot today were a little bit off. For some reason, this tripod has just been being annoying today. I've also got a new pair of reading glasses, and for some reason, the reading glasses, I don't know if I got the right prescription. This is what happens when you go to the Dollar Tree and you forget what your prescription is for reading glasses. So you just keep on trying ones on until you think you got the right ones, but you're not 100% sure. Um, but anyway, enough of that. So yeah, if you like it, let me know, and I'll continue to read more of it. Either way, even if you don't listen to my fumbling reading of it, definitely pick it up, because if you're a comic nerd and you just like well-written books, it's awesome, guys. Definitely highly recommend it. As far as the channel goes, we got some couple cool things going on in the future. I am working on a project, hopefully in April. I'm thinking my buddy Troy Sauer from the Not a Bomb podcast is going to join me, and we're probably going to shoot for sometime in April. We're going to talk about one of my favorite mangas, as well as one of my favorite movies, uh, Crying Freeman. This stars Mark Dacascos and a bunch of other really cool people. Awesome action movie. So we're going to be talking about that sometime in April. Um, that's something I can talk about openly. There's also something that's more hush hush, which I will not mention. I'll just hint at that I have some cool news coming up about this channel in the future. I might eventually transition over to a podcast format. Um, and what I'm thinking is possibly doing that and the YouTube at the same time. Uh, and I don't want to give too much of that away, because there's some cool aspects of it that I want to just kind of keep quiet for right now. But I'm excited to talk more about that in the future. And hoping to actually have episodes out in the near future for you guys, and not me just saying, hey guys, I'm going to have something out and then making you guys wait a month, because I feel bad about that. Like I said earlier, this month was just a crazy month. So those are some fun stuff to look forward to in the future, guys. With all that said, it's time for me to talk about podcasts you guys should be listening to. I'm going to start off with my buddy Troy and Brad over at Not a Bomb Podcast. These guys are amazing, and every week you can listen to these guys, and basically they talk about films that were either a commercial failure or a critical failure, and they discuss these films and then actually determine whether they were a commercial or critical failure. And a lot of times, guys, you find out there were some great movies that just shit the bed when it came to the box office. And these guys do an amazing job every week. I was on about 3 weeks ago, a month ago, for the Bonfire of Vanities, and I had a great time. And like I said, hopefully Troy's going to be collaborating with me next month to talk about the Crying Freeman film and the manga. And then also we have The Gentleman's Guide to Midnight Cinema with Sam and Will. These guys are awesome. These guys have been around for a while, and they just put on a killer show every week, guys. They do just a great job. And what's really cool about this show, guys, is they talk about mainstream stuff. They talk about cult stuff. They talk about horror. They talk about it all. And they have exposed me to a wide variety of films that I would have never thought about. Just because, like a lot of people, I'm always looking to expand my horizon when it comes to new films. And these guys they talk about a lot of interesting films. Really good stuff. They've talked about stuff from like my favorite John Carpenter movie, Starman, to why can't I think of it? The Surfer movie with Keanu Reeves, Point Break. There we go, guys, which I love. And then they've exposed me to a lot of really cool, interesting foreign films, independent films. Fantastic podcast, just like the Not a Bomb guys. Next podcast I'll mention is Watch Skip Plus. This stars Jose and his new host, Alex. I've been listening to them guys since earlier on in the year, probably like around September, October. I started listening to these guys. Great show. And what's awesome about these guys is they do something a little bit different. With each show, they have a plus aspect to the show. And what the plus aspect of the show is they talk about something new in their life, whether it's being exposed to a new technology, like a new phone that they think is awesome, or maybe it's a book that they're reading or a video game they're playing. And that's like the plus aspect, besides just talking about the movie that they're reviewing. They also talk about uh, movies that are in theaters. So it's the current stuff. So those guys are fantastic. They actually just did a really great podcast episode where they talked about the Sundance with my buddy Mike Walden, who has experienced the Sundance experience for many years, and he talked about his experience this year going to seeing movies at the Sundance Film Festival. And then they also did a Oscar prediction episode that also had Mike on, who they thought was gonna, pull home the big gold in the categories, mostly the main categories. And I think this week they're doing a Dune episode, which is cool. I started listening to it, and unfortunately, I was at work and I had to put it down because that damn job's always pulling me in a million different directions. So I'm hoping to finish listening to that today. And that's another really good podcast. I got nothing for love but love for all three of the podcasts I just mentioned, guys. So definitely be sure to check them out. So that's what's new and going on in my world. And I hope everything is going great in your world and you guys are seeing some really good films and reading some great graphic novels. Um, like I mentioned, I should have some new episodes coming out in the near future. So, like I said, guys, I'm not going to keep you waiting 3 years. I promise I'm going to start to try to get stuff out more frequently. Like I said, the last month has just been hectic. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend and you have a great day. And thanks for listening, guys.